Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for today's MobileCause webinar, How to Increase Attendance at Your Next Fundraising Event, Live or Virtual. I'm Scott Couchman, the training manager here at MobileCause. Now, before we get started, I wanted to tell you, due to the coronavirus pandemic, we've made some changes to our original presentation so that we can address the challenges it presents for nonprofits and your fundraising efforts. We know how rapidly things are evolving and therefore impacting your plans. So our discussion will encompass both in-person and virtual fundraising events. So your nonprofit can pivot your plans and maximize your turnout no matter the location. Now, today we'll provide some strategies to pivot a live fundraising event into a virtual one. We'll also share powerful ways to not only find more supporters, but to reach more supporters, inspire them to join your fundraiser, and help spread the word of your good work. We'll also explore how one nonprofit increased attendance to their annual live kickboxing and black tie dinner by over 280% and increased giving by over 160% from their first year to their fourth. Now, we welcome your participation and want to assist you by answering your questions. So please submit them into the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel. We'll answer questions during the webinar and at the end when we have an extended Q&A with our experts to answer the questions you have about fundraising during these challenging times. Now, we hope you enjoyed today's webinar, and as a quick reminder, we'll be sending out the recording and slides to all of our registrants afterwards. Now, today's webinar is presented by MobileCause. MobileCause understands the everyday challenges nonprofits face, constantly confronted with limited resources, yet still expected to expand your impact. You shouldn't have to face these challenges alone, and that's why MobileCause offers more than comprehensive fundraising software. We also provide one-on-one strategy from dedicated fundraising experts and have the industry's best support team ready to provide assistance 24/7. At MobileCause, we're just as committed to your cause as you are, and together we can grow your nonprofit like never before. Now, let me introduce you to our wonderful presenters. First off, Rachel Ryan is the Certified Child Life Specialist at Ayers Children's Medical Center of Jackson-Madison County General Hospital in Jackson, Tennessee, and a Certified Bereavement Counselor on the perinatal hospice team known as Butterfly's Embrace. From 2012 to 2018, she was an instructor at the Fight Shop, a local MMA and kickboxing fitness gym. She is the chairperson for Jackson's Black Tie and Boxing fundraiser, benefiting RD or JDRF, and also coordinates the Twilight Run and Downtown Rendezvous, benefiting Heaven's Cradle, a fund of the West Tennessee Healthcare Foundation, and serves on the board of directors for Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation's West Tennessee chapter. Corey Blake is a digital fundraising strategist at MobileCause. Corey works one-on-one with nonprofits of all sizes to help maximize their success on fundraising campaigns, from consulting and strategy and best practices to the creation of campaign communications across text messaging, social media, email, and the like. Now, Corey's expertise has helped drive donations and donor engagements for nonprofits to grow their mission and achieve their goals. So today we have an informative agenda for you, packed with useful insights, strategies, and takeaways. We'll dive into online tools that help manage virtual and online events, powerful messaging and outreach strategies, and ways to turn your live event into a virtual one. And then we'll hear from Rachel Ryan on how they dramatically increased attendance and giving from previous years at their fourth annual Black Tie and Boxing event. All right, so before we begin discussing how to increase attendance at your next fundraising event, live or virtual, we have a quick poll for everyone. So let me go ahead and launch this poll here. All right, should be on your screen. So we have the four choices here. No, have any of your fundraising event plans changed as a result of coronavirus? And so our choices are no, we're all systems go for our event. Yes, we're considering canceling our event. Yes, we canceled our upcoming event, and four, we don't have any upcoming events scheduled. So let's see what our numbers are coming in at. Oh, great, a lot of you responding. I love this. Good numbers here. Okay. All right, got a good number of it here. So we'll go ahead and close the poll out here. Let's take a look at those numbers. In a way, not really all that surprised, but we do see this that this is happening right now, which is partly why we definitely switched the material today to cover the pivot from live to virtual. But yeah, we very few are all systems go. Good amount are considering canceling or have already canceled, and a small percentage don't have any upcoming events scheduled. So hopefully this should give you wherever you're at or not in planning your live event or virtual event, this webinar today should have some truly helpful tips and ideas for your nonprofit. So let's go ahead and dive in here. Let me get this going here. Okay, so I should have the screen back up. All right, so with that, join me in welcoming Corey Blake to start us off with how to increase your attendance at your next virtual or live fundraising event. Over to you, Corey.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I know that there's a lot of changing information coming out, and so we want to, to be as nimble as possible. Obviously, these are sort of historic times we're in here. So I think one thing to keep in mind is that your donors, your supporters, and the people that are interested in the work that you do, they understand that. There's going to be a level of forgiveness in how you respond. So I think just keeping in mind overabundance of caution and keeping your donors and your supporters and attendees and things like that, the constituents safe, obviously, is a priority. But your organization still has a mission, and don't assume that people still don't want to help. They probably do, and in fact, during this time, people are looking for ways that they can make a difference. So we're going to talk a lot about how to pivot to a virtual event if that's what you're looking to do, which I think is not a bad idea at all. If your live event is further out and can still happen, we'll still talk about how to do that and how these tools can help you. So first, going to look at online tools. That is obviously a great way to get people involved regardless of how you're doing your events. Americans spend over 6.5 hours of their day online. So that's, if you're online, you're gonna be where they are. You're gonna be in front of them. So the old paper method, telephone calls, things like that. You can still do that, but I would highly recommend using these resources as a sort of a central hub, and we'll give you some examples on how to do that. But it really will help you in planning more and being able to control the sort of the flow of information. So this sort of event page that you can set up will really give you, like I said, a central hub, one link, one destination, whether they want to buy tickets, become a sponsor, volunteer at your event, maybe make a donation in lieu of attendance or ahead of attending. It can all exist on this one central page. And it's mobile responsive, of course, so whether they're on their phone or they are on a desktop, all the information is still going to be there. It's going to look nice and present itself you know, in a really appealing way, and it'll with the intent of increasing conversion. Obviously, we want to drive people to this page, but we don't want them to just stop there, look at it, and be like, oh, well, that looks nice. You know, we want them to take action. We want them to buy a ticket. You can see these buttons here: buy a ticket, become a sponsor, make a gift. So that's what all of this sort of has. So one of the first stops is going to be to register, of course. So we want people to attend, again, whether it's virtual or not. The idea of a virtual event, you want people to kind of proclaim that they're going to be involved, they're going to be there and watching it unravel, or you know, the stories that you tell unfold, and they want to participate. So you want them to sort of commit, whether it's free or not. So this sort of a registration tool, this enables you to capture attendee information. So whether, like I said, whether for online or in person. When they register, you can specify what data you capture from attendees. So no more half filled out forms where they decide they don't want to give you that bit of information. You can control what fields are required and what aren't. And with that captured contact information, you can then send communication, send reminders, updates. You can tell your story. And this also creates a sense of urgency too. If there is this ticketing form, this online ticketing form, you can cap how many tickets can be sold. You can whether you have a capacity in your venue or whether you just want to create this feeling of this exclusive event. You can display how many are available, and this really creates this sense of this exclusive event. You know, I want to be involved. And for a virtual event too, having this ticketing, you know, you might think, well, is that really necessary? No, I mean, you can just promote the event, tell people it's coming, but this really does create this sense as a virtual event of it being more formal, and it's exciting to sign up for. Like it, and it's also showing a commitment. Like, this is happening, we are doing this, and we want you to be involved in it, and you can declare, you know, your interest in participating. All right, next slide here. Make sure I'm moving through here. So the communication tool. So we've got the registration page up. We want to tell people about it. We want people to actually go to it. We want that event page for people to go see it. So this sense of urgency too, to go back to that. Text messaging is a great way to create this sense of immediacy and urgency. So if you send a text message, you can set it. If you upload a list with your donor data, your constituents, past attendees, and you have their name in that database, our system can see that. And when they are texted, their name can show up and personalize it. And this really, again, feels like, hey, you're talking to me. You know that it's me on the other side of that phone, and you can really tell your story and drive me to click on that link, get involved. This enables guests to register at the moment they are most motivated to do so. So you can send texts telling your story of why the event is being held and why you should get involved and how it makes a difference now more than ever. So that's you know, that's definitely a thing. Like I said, 95% of Americans, they own a mobile device. So you want, again, we're trying to get in their face where they are, and text messaging definitely can help with that. At the same time, we want to consider multi-channel approach. That's always been our philosophy, and it certainly does not change here. This sort of multi-channel approach includes social media. Trying to move my slide here, sorry. There we go. So this helps people in seeing it. So the more times they hear about the event, and the more times they see it in different channels, and in different ways that they are living their life, the more that they understand that this is a big deal. It just creates this saturation of I want to go do I want to go do this. I want to be involved. And so if they get a text message, then later that day or the next day they see it on social media. A few days later, they get an email about it. It just starts to feel like this is a big deal. This is truly an event, and I want to be a part of it. So social media, you want to tag people. It can be past donors, attendees, people that are being honored, sponsored. That is going to increase visibility by allowing your message to show up on that person's feed, and it makes it easier for sharing as well. So again, this just creates spreading the net even wider. The more you can get people to be talking about it, the better. And of course, you want to share the link. You want to share a keyword if you have a texting keyword, and drive people to your pages, whatever method is easiest. Instagram, it does not generally let you post a link, so you generally want to promote the keyword more on Instagram. Facebook, I would do both, but it's usually easier to just click on a link on Facebook. So again, you just want to think about the channel that you're using and that experience, that interaction that each person is going to be having with it. What's the easiest way? What's the shortest distance to your event page? Is it clicking a link, or is it them sending a text message? If they are getting a text, it's going to be easier for them to just click on a link rather than them send a text to get a link that they click on. You're just saving them a step. So always think about, the less steps it takes for anybody to get where we want them to be. So with that idea of tagging people, getting more people just sharing it out and talking about it, think about getting ambassadors and or table captains. This is a great idea to work with people that are excited about your mission, excited about the event. Maybe they've been highly engaged in the past, and this gives them a new way to get involved. And it lets people hear about your event when it's not you, it's not your organization. When I hear about a TV show or some other thing going on from a friend and they say, hey, you should check this out, that carries more weight than if I hear about it from some entity. So obviously you as the organization need to be talking about it and you need to be promoting it. But at the same time, having it run parallel with individuals who are talking about it, that's, again, you're just spreading your net wider, and it's increasing that visibility. So recruit ambassadors, have them share your posts, have them talk about why they care about your organization, why they care about your mission, what's their personal connection to your organization, and why are they attending, why are they excited about it. Getting them to share their personal perspective is, again, going to carry more weight. It's going to connect more with their networks and their friends and family so that they're going to be more likely to take action. Another outreach tool here that we're looking at, streaming. So this is obviously going to be essential for virtual events, but for even a non-virtual event, a physical event, you can use streaming live services, Facebook Live, Instagram Stories. You can do live streaming on YouTube as well. These are all ways that you can bring people into the event, whether they are present or not. Again, thinking about a live event, non-geographically close people can get involved as well. So you can use this leading up to the event as well. And that's kind of the key takeaway here is don't be afraid to have live. It doesn't have to be long as well, just live segments where you maybe preview one of the speakers, interview them briefly, talk about some of your staff, your mission, things like that. Again, these can be multiple live broadcasts where hey, we're going to talk about this one part of it right now, and then a few days later, next one, and it just adds more hype. Just is another way to talk about the event. So you're not just sort of saying the same invitation over and over again. It gives you new content to frame your invitation, and that just makes it a more exciting. Again, creates more excitement, more anticipation. People are like, oh wow, this is a big deal. Oh, they're getting this person talking. Oh, they're using streaming. Like if this is your first time doing it, it's gonna be like, wow, these guys are fancy. You're gonna get people excited, and they're just gonna want to be involved in that. So virtual events, we're going to focus more on those now. If you are pivoting to a virtual event, again, information is changing every day, as we're all aware. So again, you're going to have to you have to be nimble about this. Whether the date is the same date that you had or a new one, it's going to depend on the circumstance. And I would say it depends a lot on your own capacity to adjust. If you need more time to make these adaptations that we're going to be talking about, whatever is feasible and practical for you to pull off, as well as what keeps everybody safe. So the timing may or may not be right for you to hold it on the same day, but don't be afraid to move it. Again, like I said in the beginning, people are compassionate. People are going to understand if you need to move it. Promote your virtual event frequently. So again, we want to get in front of people's faces, but the internet can be a distracting place, as I'm sure you realize. So we want to not be shy, and we want to talk about this a lot. We want to treat this as a big deal. Virtual events tend to have a lower overhead as far as cost. There's no venue you have to rent, things like that. So sometimes people kind of diminish their value and kind of think like, oh, it's a virtual event, it'll be easier, and it's not as big of a deal. Treat it to your audience, your donors and attendees, as a big deal, as a real live event. So text it frequently, be on social media, email them, recruit ambassadors and influencers, all the things we've been talking about. Don't think you can kind of back off. You really want to, if not more, you might have to rally a bit more to really reinforce the idea. Yeah, this is a serious thing we're doing. This is a big thing. It's going to be fun. It's going to be powerful. We're going to make a difference. And you want to spread the word. Comment, share, interact on social media as well. You want to make sure that when you post content, that you also listen and interact with comments. Again, that's just going to get people more excited that this is something that they can get involved in. So you'll want to continue to use text to donate. So just like at a live event, remind your audience throughout the virtual event. One event, this Friends of Youth, which we'll talk about a little bit more, but they did several live streams throughout the day of their events, and they had live asks in each of them. So don't back off on asking for donations. If anything, they are needed more than ever now. Encourage interactions, like I said, likes, shares, comments, tags to broaden the reach of your live stream. So yeah, if you're on the live stream, you're having a guest, tag them. Encourage them to promote it as well on their channels. Display the live event thermometer and donor wall on your event page. So we're going to take a closer look at the event page in a moment, and you can have this sort of progress circle that we have, and in the live stream as well, there is a live thermometer and donor wall that scrolls and everything, that you can have that on as well. So there's a couple ways you can sort of show activity, but you want to really make sure you're stressing that you're showing all that activity, and donors are being recognized. That's still a big deal. So this can be a fun way to show off your event, how you are reaching your goals, boost friendly competition, especially if you're having ambassadors and table captains, still, even if they are virtual tables, kind of compete against each other. All this stuff can still increase the urgency of sharing your mission and raising donations to further that cause. So increasing attendance here with communication. This is, I guess, stressing sort of what I was just talking about. I guess I got excited and talked without forwarding. But yeah, the idea here is, of course, communication and outreach ideas we've discussed still apply for a virtual event. But keep in mind, you're not bound by geographical proximity. Anybody can now, if you are doing a virtual event, anybody can attend. It's not just your town or city or area. So when you are creating your lists, you're segmenting and talking to different audiences and determining what message to send to which groups, you want to think about that. Like you can expand outward now. If you have donors that have never been able to attend your gala, if it's now a virtual event, now they can, and you can share that excitement with them and say, hey, great news. We're going to do it this way this year, and we'd love for you to get involved. So the virtual event, so let's take a look at it. So you'll see how we can do live streaming. I'll show you that progress circle there and the donor wall. So let's open it up and take a look at this. So we've got our kind of nice splash page here. We got pictures in the background. This is for obviously a cute dog shelter. Button right away, call to action, donate right there. You've got, and you can add, of course, more buttons if you want to do sponsors and tickets and so on. Scroll down, you see here's the live stream of our dog shelter, adorable, and that's happening. That's just there for anybody to see. Scroll down, you've got a call to action for a keyword to donate, and then our progress bar. We're brand new, so we don't have any gifts yet, but when they come in, the circle here will kind of move around, so you'll see the color change on the circle as the money is raised. And then on the thank you side there, that's where all the names would scroll. So just like if you've seen our event fundraising thermometer and donor wall, there's this thermometer, a traditional thermometer for taking temperatures. There we go. Look at that, perfect. So now you can see there's a little circle there to indicate the difference. The money's been raised. We've got 9 donors, how much money we are striving toward with our goal, and then all the donor names and amounts scrolling by. So yeah, it's fantastic, and so anybody can come in here and see how it's going. And again, the donate button right below it. Hey, you want to be on here too? You want your name to scroll by? Click here. So let's scroll down a little bit more and we can see just more information, make a difference, storytelling. You can show how you can make an impact. We've got these impact buttons at certain levels to encourage people to give at certain levels. If we go down further, just the footer information. We could also display sponsors on this page if we wanted to. We've got our sponsorship link. We could show logos if we wanted to. And it's very dynamic. Actually, if we can scroll up to the very top and click on that donate button. I forgot to do this part. We can see how the donate form just kind of pops right out on the side there. It's pretty cool. So again, we're just kind of keeping people here. There they go, donate right away. And then they fill out their information, and then they're going to show up on the donor wall at the bottom. You can pay by PayPal, credit or debit. We also have Apple Pay as well. If our system here had the option of paying by Apple Pay, it would show there. And then yeah, I fill out the form and I show up right there. So yeah, that's our event page. It's great. It's clean. It's one page. Scroll down. It's really dynamic. Obviously, this works on mobile. And it's really flexible too. All the stuff that we put here, you could change the order, you could shuffle it around. We've got hashtags there. It's a great one-stop to send everybody to just sort of see anything that they might want to contribute, get involved. We could have a volunteer sign up form in here if we wanted to, if we wanted some volunteers to help with the social media interaction, a social media kind of intern sort of idea. So yeah, that's the event page. At the bottom too, you see there's the little footer of the people get involved. They can sign up by mobile or email. So yeah, lots of options to kind of get people involved and engaged, which is awesome. So let's see, we have some examples and virtual event ideas we want to show you here. So of course, you can do a virtual gala. You can do a day of giving. A lot of these day of giving, certainly isn't anything new. Giving Tuesday is certainly a big deal, but more and more we're finding that people are doing their own day of giving outside of Giving Tuesday as a way to sort of generate their own attention without it being diluted with everybody doing Giving Tuesday. So day of giving is definitely something to look at. Peer-to-peer challenge, that sort of goes back to that kind of idea of a table captains competing against each other to get people registered. That would be one version of that. Virtual charity one, some of these we're gonna look at, but these are all great ideas. We have a link to an infographic that has a ton of these ideas fleshed out a little bit more, so you can look at them, and you'll be getting all this content after the webinar emailed to you, and so you'll be able to dive into that and check that out. So yeah, let's take a look at a couple of actual virtual events. So this is Friends of Youth, and this is hot off the press. This is a very new event. Canceled their event due to the coronavirus, and they pivoted very quickly to a virtual event. So this is that Friends of Youth that I was mentioning earlier, where they did streaming. They did these live streaming they did Facebook Live several points of the day here, and also on YouTube, I think I saw. And so they did these interviews, these Q&As. So the really exciting thing with live streaming and doing these virtual events is you can do this video portion, but people can comment on the video while you're streaming. So you can have somebody kind of watching those comments and then throwing those questions out to the hosts. So again, just really exciting way for people to feel engaged, connected, and even though they're not in the same room, they can still affect what's going on in the room and in the virtual room. So they raised, as you can see, over $16,000, almost 30 gifts. Average gifts is, I assume that's a decimal point missing, $553.40. And so, this was a great thing. Otherwise they would have made nothing. And so they were able to pivot and really rally their people to still make a big difference. And 16,000, I mean, I see plenty of live events make that same amount. So that's a huge win for them. Another one is this Steve Harvey ride. So this is not super recent, but this is a great example of a virtual event where you think of a run or a walk as a physical event, but it doesn't have to be. So what Steve Harvey did is he basically challenged people, say, hey, walk with me, run with me, and donate, or just donate to basically sponsor him doing it. And they can run any number of miles or laps that they want to, and nobody's watching, but they can certainly declare that they're going to. They can use a treadmill, an elliptical, they can walk around their neighborhood or local park, dog walking, they can just do it in spirit. I'm not actually going to walk, but I will pretend that I did, and I'm still donating, so it's all in the spirit of making a difference. Most of the gifts Steve Harvey here got when he did this, they were very small, as low as $1 or $5. But he encouraged that. He said, any amount makes a difference. It's not always about the size of the gifts, but the quantity, the volume of gifts, how many come in, they can achieve your goals too. So that's one of the advantages of a virtual event is getting a lot of people who maybe never would have attended this because it's a big, it would be either they don't live nearby or they just, oh, they're busy that day, they don't have the time. But hey, I can stop by, see somebody virtually running, running online and throw them a few dollars to help out. It's just, again, creating this fun, interactive opportunity without losing the actual, without losing your fundraising opportunities. Virtual gala here. This is the Homeless Families Foundation. They host their annual fully virtual fundraising campaign. They've actually been doing this for a little bit now. This is not new for them, but it's a great example of how you can really establish this as this is just how we do it now. It's what they call the No-Show Mother's Day Gala. So by making this event completely online, using text to donate, they use peer-to-peer fundraising, and they have just straight online donation pages. The Homeless Families Foundation, they're able to save overhead and costs and support more single mothers. So they mobilized influencers who supported their organization, and they provided them with instructions on how to set up their own fundraising pages, and they gave them fundraising tips. They gave them appeal copy and images and stories, videos, all this sort of content to help the individuals promote their own fundraising pages. Again, that goes back to what I was talking about earlier, where people talking about your mission and why they care about it and why they're helping you raise money in many ways carries more weight because it's individuals talking to their friends and family who care about what they care about. If a friend of mine is passionate about something, I'm gonna be interested. If I care about them, I'm gonna be like, well, I love that you're passionate about this. Whether I may or may not be passionate about the same thing, I like them and I want to support them, and so I will donate. And that's now you've got a new donor, and that can turn into a repeat donor. Maybe then I start to care about the mission because I start to realize, wow, this really does make a difference. You know what? I will donate next year when this comes up again, or the next time I'm asked, once more stories are coming to me. So the organization, they also promoted the event through social media, mobile messaging, and email. And with Mobile Cause, the Homeless Families Foundation, they raised $54,530 for their No-Show Mother's Day Gala, more than the previous year. So this really was for them, and it was a game changer for them. Okay, let's see. So that's my examples. I want to again thank you, and I'm really excited to hear uh, uh, from Rachel on her really creative event, which we'll get to in just a moment. But for now, I'm going to turn it back to Scott. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Corey, and thanks for all the the helpful information on maximizing these online tools, the communication, the outreach strategies, both for in-person and online fundraisers. Now, as a quick reminder, if you have any questions, see we get a lot of questions coming in. But if you do have questions, you feel free to submit them into the question box on your control panel as we go along. And also, just want to remind everyone, we do have an infographic on virtual event ideas with tips on how to implement and support the virtual event. So we will include that in the post-webinar email. So we'll make sure you get that as part of it. But now let's turn it over to Rachel Ryan of Black Tie and Boxing, a fund of the West Tennessee Healthcare Foundation, on how these same tools helped her annual event transform their attendance and giving results. Okay, Rachel, take it away.
Thank you, Scott. Yes, I am thrilled to be talking with you all about an event that we do locally here in Jackson, Tennessee, which is the western part of Tennessee. It's the hub between Memphis and Nashville. And the reason why I'm telling you all this is to show you that even in a small town, big things are possible. We currently have around 68,000 people who live here in Jackson, and Black Tie and Boxing has taken off. So what is Black Tie Boxing? We are a fund of the West Tennessee Healthcare Foundation. We were created directly to benefit and raise awareness for Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, also known as the JDRF. JDRF is the world's largest nonprofit funder for type 1 diabetes research, and millions of people around the world live with type 1 diabetes and are threatened with type 1 diabetes, which is an autoimmune disease that strikes both children and adults. I actually got involved with this cause. My nephew, one of my nephews, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and did not run in the family. So it is my why. And so I just want to let you all know what our why is about Black Tie Boxing. So the name definitely does fit with the event. It really is a black tie event with not boxing actually, but MMA and kickboxing. So a part of the boxing arena. It is a part of the fight world. We came up with the name because we wanted it to be something that people would recognize. And so thus began Black Tie and Boxing. Like I said, it is a third party fundraiser for Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation of West Tennessee chapter, which is located in Memphis. And so Black Tie and Boxing is a black tie affair. And you'll see there in the pictures there, people are dressed up to the nines. They really do come out in their dresses and tuxes and to watch people fight. And while that may be a unique concept, it is a unique event that people have really bought into here in Jackson, Tennessee. So people come in for the cocktail hour. They dine around an MMA cage where they're entertained by live MMA and kickboxing matches. And we create a ballroom-esque ambiance, as you see there. There's lots of different lighting and just to capture the fun of the night. So it is an elegant event, as you can see, but it also is a little edgy. And for some reason, and I do understand it, people have bought into that. I would like to say that this is an event that is all volunteer managed. We are not paid to do this event. A group of us started this event here in Jackson, Tennessee. A couple of visionaries had been to an event similar to this in Texas. And so they brought the idea back. They were just really affected by type 1 diabetes and had seen the effects of it through a friend and brought the idea to some of us, and thus began Black Tie Boxing. And so that is what started our steering committee, is what we refer them to. So what started out as about 7 to 10 people on the committee has now grown to 20 people. We do have, during the evening, we manage around 50 to 75 volunteers, and the needs continue to grow year after year. I will say that growing our volunteer committee base really helped with for a number of things. Obviously, people have different talents and different things they can bring to the table. But also, we found that if you're growing your volunteer committee, people that are really wanting to be a part of this event and this process and this cause, it can also potentially provide an additional stream of potential sponsors at this event. And that is something we have personally seen as a benefit as well. It has been held the last 4 years. We started it, and the first year was January of 2017, and we just celebrated our 4th year in January of 2020. And there you can see that the numbers that we had this year, and we'll look at results here in just a little bit from year 1 to year 4. So as you can guess, when there are new events or just events in general, there's always challenges, but especially in year 1. So the biggest challenge for us that we saw in year 1, the question of, so what is this event? What exactly is going to happen here? Like I said, it is a unique concept. You really do dress up and you really do come watch people fight, and you really do eat. And so enjoy and have drinks and socialize. So getting past what all is going to happen was a challenge, but it was something that we knew was going to be a challenge. So it wasn't unanticipated. So for us, we wanted to be sure that we provided that clear communication to the community, to our sponsors, finding the right sponsors, explaining a little bit more about what this event is. But really, in the beginning, it was for people to understand this is a charity event. We have a cause. Our cause is JDRF, and this is what JDRF means. So finding that right mode of communication for us was essential. Also essential and challenging was, how do we create a ballroom-like atmosphere, a black tie affair with boxing? And so that bridging that fight community with the black tie affair was also something that created challenges. We essentially have I say we essentially have 3 different events going on in that one night. We have the black tie affair, we have fights that are taking place, and then we also have a general admission crowd, which is upstairs in the balcony area. And so there are 3 different types of events going on all at the same time. So bridging that together was a challenge, but it was something that, having the right team and having the right people, we were able to make happen. We did create, as you see, there's different tables around the cage. The levels that are the higher level of tables, they get more seating, maybe some swag, just different levels of sponsorships that took place. We did have different sponsor levels, different opportunities that came with that. And so that was an opportunity there for people to buy. We also, of course, had the general admission tickets, which was, again, a completely different environment, essentially upstairs. They didn't have to dress up, but they could if they wanted to, but it was casual for them. They still were offered concessions and bar and that kind of thing. But again, it was a different environment, but they could still be totally part of the night. Another challenge, how do we increase our reach pre-event? Using that promotion wisely. So again, we are clear in that communication. Year one, of course, we didn't have any photos to grab from. So we had never done this event. So we had to find the right photos that were mimicking the environment that we wanted to create that night so that people could know what to expect. There was lots of questions about what do we wear. So we created graphics on what to wear. Letters to potential sponsors on expectations and agenda, speaking at Rotary groups here in the Jackson community. Those are things that we did, especially in year one, so that we could overcome any challenges that may come about. Again, the first year was not really known, so we had to kind of think through, how are we going to advance year after year? Sorry, I advanced there a little bit. All right, so some tools that we use to help with our event. We did create a website. It is a mobile-friendly website. We found that one thing we wanted to do was to purchase a domain that was unique to our event name, so that when we were talking about black tie and boxing, that's all people had to remember, and they can type in blacktieandboxing.com. And if you want to go check out our website, I encourage you to do so. It's still a work in progress, but it is something that, again, is easy to use and easy for people to remember. We do use online ticket sales. That is important to us as well. You can see to the left of the screen here is where we sold our general admission tickets. And I'll say this was a fabulous way to use the Mobile Cause ticket sales page. It was easy, it was quick way to make purchases. And then, of course, as a fundraiser, you always like to have that added opportunity for people to consider to make a donation, to make that gift. And we actually did have many, many people that took advantage of that opportunity. And every penny counts. And so just throwing it out there for them to make that choice was important to us. Another thing we did, like I mentioned, was sponsorship sales. We had different levels. We did make those phone calls, especially in the first year, and had meetings again, to get past that challenge of what exactly is this event, because it was unique. But I will say, in year 4, actually year 2, 3, and 4, we didn't have to make too many asks. We have people that come back to us the night of, the day after the event, throughout the year that say, put me down. Or we had to make waiting lists this year to have people, for people that wanted to purchase a table. So to say it was a success, I would say is an understatement. But again, it goes back to all the tools that we're using, but again, having the right people and having the people to serve on our committee, I do say is a big testimony to our success. One thing new that we added into our event this year in 2020 was we did use the text to donate with the live event thermometer, and it brought a new level of donors to the night for us. This helped meet that question of that challenge that we asked ourselves in the beginning, is how do we keep things fresh year after year, but still bring in more money so we don't cap out. And so Mobile Cause made this easy for us to use, using the text to donate, using the live event thermometer. We did a Facebook Live during the event as well, and people could text to donate from their couches, just like Corey was talking about with a virtual event. It wasn't necessarily all virtual event, but we did use it to our advantage using Facebook Live. We also added in this year the peer-to-peer fundraising. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here in just a few minutes too. I will say, if this is something you're not doing, take advantage of it now. This, along the peer-to-peer, along with the text to donate, definitely increased our sales in year 4 dramatically. So event promotion, just the normal stuff, social media. And if you're not big on social media, which I have a feeling most of you are if you're on this webinar, but social media is your friend. So don't be scared to use it. It is free unless you're, buying ads and things like that, but it's free. A majority of your patrons are using it and will continue to use it. We created pages on Facebook and Instagram. Our handle is @BlackTieUnboxing, and we do create a Facebook event every year. And so this is just an easy way to capture your audience, to keep people up to date, and communicate with them clearly. We did reach out to community businesses for sponsors. In addition, we have quite a few people that make personal purchases for this event, probably more than normal, but a majority are businesses. And one thing that we do, we really try to take care of our sponsors. And every year we have done except for the first year, but years 2 through 4, we have done a patrons party to thank our sponsors. So this happens in November, which is Type 1 Diabetes Awareness Month. And every November leading up to the event, which is held in January, we thank our sponsors, and we just encourage them about the evening that's coming up in January. It's a time for everyone to get excited about the night. We offer, of course, food and beverages. It's a social hour. They're able to learn more about what is JDRF and hear more about the cause. We bring in some kids that have Type 1 for them to share a little bit about their disease and how it affects them. And then we also share about JDRF and how this money is being used to help not only the community, but in the research world for a cure. And then one special thing that we do at Patrons Party is we also announce the fight card. And so this is the first time that the fight card is announced. It's not announced on social media or anywhere else yet until we share it with our patrons at the Patrons Party. We do partner with local media, TV, radio, print. We do exchanges with a local radio station for spots leading up to the event to talk about the card, talk about the event. The media, especially at that point, is usually the biggest time for us to push our general admission ticket sales. We do ticket giveaways on air. We leave them for them during commercial hours that they use them for as well. Again, extra revenue from our peer-to-peer, and then word of mouth is big. Like Corey mentioned earlier, as we have tables that are purchased and sponsors, there's typically a table host that is making that purchase. And so they are the ones really that are capturing the people in their tables, that are inviting them. And there's a reason why they're coming, and they're sharing what that cause is. So peer-to-peer fundraising, we tried something new this year. Again, like I said, this is brand new for us. Wasn't really sure how it was going to go down, but it went off without a hitch. We started what's called the Fight Club. And so in addition to our regular fight card that consisted of men and women, MMA, kickboxing matches, we usually have about 10 to 13 fights on the night. And we also added in what's called the Fight Club. And so we recruited local men in the community, and we asked them, we said, hey, we're trying this thing. It's going to be called the Fight Club. We are asking you because we know that you are a champion in your community. You're a champion for your work. There's a cause of JDRF. Maybe they are affiliated with the cause. Maybe they're affected by the cause. Maybe they just like the fight world. There's a reason why we asked these specific men to come. And we said, hey, if you'll come and train like a fighter in a local gym that we have here that we partnered with, and learn how to fight like a fighter, but during this time, raise money for JDRF and Black Tie Boxing. And potentially you have the opportunity to fight at the end of this and be on the fight card at Black Tie Boxing. So as you can imagine, there were quite a few that were hesitant to the actual fighting. But after just moments of just kind of discussion, and this is what it would look like, everybody was all in. They came and they trained for 3 months. These guys raised money above and beyond what we set their goal to be. We even set up a competition between 2 teams. So we had Team Kim and Team AJ. Those were the 2 coaches. And they were competitive amongst themselves in raising the money. And so, we just used normal men. We call them our everyday heroes. They were bankers. They were teachers. They were, just coaches, a couple of big name coaches in the area. Putting a face, men that people know on the card was really helpful for us. It just created that extra anticipation of the night. It helped with our general admission ticket sales, especially. Having those local fighters definitely helped in that promotion. And then we do a weigh-in every year, and it's held at a local brewery here in town. And so all the fighters on the fight card come and weigh in, and they do the squaring up and the whole thing. So it's a big night, and that's the night before, and it just gets everybody really excited for the following evening. So again, some event strategies that we used. Text to donate. So every year we did what was called Fund a Cure. And so Fund a Cure is a time in the evening where 100% of the donations that are given at that time go directly to research. And we always set that up as maybe this is a time where you were a guest of the table. So probably a majority of them didn't even pay to get into the event. But so this is a time to ask them, say, hey, this is your opportunity to contribute to this cause. This is your opportunity to give. And so we did use the text to donate option during this Fund a Cure time. We shared that this was going to be an upcoming thing that was going to be happening in that night. So people weren't alarmed that, hey, what's this thermometer? They were already told at the beginning of the evening. We had somebody give a short testimony about how type 1 diabetes has affected their life or their family's life. We show videos through the evening, and videos are an easy way to share a story. And I will say keeping your videos to like a minute and a half or less during an event is especially crucial because you're going to lose people's attention. So we would share 5 or 6 videos through the night. Short videos, and it also put a face with the cause, which is very helpful. So during that time of Fund a Cure, it also, the biggest thing for us was it enabled our general mission crowd to donate. I felt like we were always missing out on that general mission. They came in, they bought the ticket, they sat in the balcony, they maybe ate pizza, had some drinks, but they were never afforded the time or opportunity to donate, and they probably would like to, especially if they're coming in at a cheaper ticket price. They might have a little bit more to give. And so because of the text to donate, the fund to cure, the life thermometer, we had general mission crowd that donated this year. And so again, we'll see the results here in a few minutes, but this doubled our amount of raising from previous years in fund to cure using the life thermometer and using the text to donate. Another event strategy that we use is the live drink auction. So again, unique is the word. We didn't want to be like every other event. We didn't want to have a silent auction. And silent auctions are great, but it's just not something that we wanted to use at this event. And so we did a live auction of specialty drink rounds. And between some of the fight matches, we had about 5 different drinks between matches, or one round a match. So between 5 matches, and we auctioned off drinks. And so we had a girl take away, a server take around a tray of drinks, and people in the audience could bid for drinks for their whole table. So again, first year, we didn't know what to expect from this. We thought maybe we might make a few $100s on it. We have never made less than $500 on a round. The first year, we made $5,000 on one round of drinks. Now, that was a little excessive, perhaps, and we did tell that table to drink slowly so they could appreciate what just happened. But that was a big hit. People enjoyed that live auction. This year, I think the most we made on the round was around $1,200 to $1,400. So the live drink rounds is something really neat to try. I would encourage it. We partnered with a local brewery and great money. Another thing that was a big hit is the whiskey pool. So instead of a wine pool, we do whiskey. And we have that set up during our cocktail hour. People can come in and buy a ticket. We charge like $60 for a ticket. They flip over their shot glass, and whatever numbers on their shot glass lines up with the number bottle that they pull. So the chance is you could go home with a $25 bottle of whiskey, or you could go home with a $700 bottle of whiskey. And so all of these bottles were donated from people in the community, from friends. It may have been from distributors or local liquor stores. And again, variety was a big thing for us, and it also just helps with the anticipation of the chance of what type of bottle are you going to get. Every year, I'll say that the whiskey pool has sold out in 30 minutes. So let's look at our 2020 results. We did sell out all of our tables, which was 70 tables, and thinking about, 70 may or may not be a big number to you, but once you put a MMM cage and then a walk path and everything around that cage, it takes up a lot of space. And so we had 70 tables all the way around the cage. We also sold out our general admission seats, or almost sold out. I think it holds 925 in the balcony. So sold around 900 general admission seats, biggest year yet. And a reminder, we still had a waiting list of people that wanted to buy tables. And there were, people that were disappointed they couldn't buy a table. But again, we did do the live Facebook stream. And again, I think that will help with people seeing what is this event all about. So in year 1 to year 4, our table sales did increase by 160%. We went from 25 tables in year 1 to, again, 70 tables in year 4 at a sold out crowd. General admission tickets, we increased by 200% from year 1. We had around 300 people. Year 9, around 900 people. So what increased these sales? Again, it's something new, it's something unique. We can't take away from the fact that this event is just different. But I would like to say new programs. Let's look at what we added. We added the peer-to-peer fundraising. The Fight Club there, they surpassed their goal by 35%. going into Black Tie Unboxing, they brought in over $27,000, leading into the event. And two, I always say this is, yes, while as fundraisers, we are excited to have the money. We want that money to come in. But personally, I also am so thankful for the fact that even with that peer-to-peer fundraising, again, the money came in, but that's 11 more people that were in the Fight Club that are talking about type 1 diabetes, which is our cause. That's hundreds of more people aware of what type 1 diabetes is and what JDRF is all about. And that's hundreds of people more that are donating to the cause. And then lastly, the text to donate. It did increase about previous years by 100%, of course, because we've never used it before. But it is something that we will definitely be using again, and we saw the benefits from it. So again, I'll say that we definitely will be using Mobile Cause again. If there's a hesitation at first, just like we felt in the beginning, just because it was something new and something different, you will be glad you said yes from the beginning. Mobile Cause definitely creates a dynamic and professional, user-friendly approach, and it will take your event to the next level. So that is all I have about Black Tie Unboxing, and I'm going to turn it back over to Scott.
All right, thank you. Thank you both, Corey and Rachel, for sharing your valuable expertise with us today. And we hope everyone here, regardless of coronavirus, is inspired to start trying these ideas out for your own fundraising events. Now, before we go ahead and jump into our Q&A, we want to ask a quick question here. So let me go ahead and open that. So we want to know, are you interested in learning more? Would you be interested in a one-on-one consultation with Mobile Cause, or would you just want more information from Mobile Cause? So go ahead and put that in. Let's see what numbers we're getting. Okay, a lot of great information here. It's, looks like we're starting to slow down here. We'll give it another few seconds. All right, looks like we stopped here. So, okay, let me go ahead and close this up. Okay, so for our questions and answers, so it's now time for our extended Q&A where we answer some of the very important questions that you've sent us about fundraising and the challenges that you face amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. So please feel free to submit any other questions that you have as we go along. We've already got a nice queue going here. We're also joined by Leah Leibold to help us out with some of these questions here from our digital fundraising strategy team. Same with Corey. So with that, let's take a look at the questions. Right, first question is for Leah from Jessica. Are organizations requiring people to buy tickets for a virtual event?
Okay. We've seen really successful virtual events, especially those that are like 5K, virtual 5Ks or virtual cycling events, have a lot of success with requiring people to buy tickets or register. The great thing about virtual athletic events is that unless you are in a shelter-in-place city, we're outside of Los Angeles, and our health department's still saying you can go outside, you can take those walks, you can take those jogs, you can go to the park. So giving people an opportunity to participate in athletic events, albeit individually, and allowing them to register and maybe sending them their virtual, their virtual bib that they can print out, is something that a lot of organizations have had success with in the past. Tickets also allow you to, if you're talking more about a virtual like online event that doesn't have an athletic component, selling a ticket allows you to collect it's a source of revenue for your organization, and allows people to participate in your event at the time that they're available. So they get your email, they see you're having an event. They might not put it in their calendar to come back and participate in your event at the day of, or they might have other plans, but this allows them, even if they can't participate in your event later, to still say, I'm buying a $50 virtual ticket to this event. So and especially if you have incentives for them, selling tickets shouldn't be a problem in this day and age.
Okay, great. All right, so next question is for Corey. This one comes from Karen. Do you recommend having starter gifts on the thermometer or the progress circle?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think you certainly could show sponsors if you wanted to. There's a couple sort of philosophies on this. If you sort of preload the thermometer, and then sort of what do you do with the goal in relation to that? Because sometimes people will put their whole event goal in there, and then some will have a specific fund and need goal. I tend to lean toward the latter, where because if the goal is smaller and you start with either 0, but maybe have a few loaded in there, then any movement is more dramatic, and you want to see that people like striving toward this goal. So I guess it depends a little bit on whether you're doing the live streaming and you're seeing the thermometer screen, or in a live event, you're actually in the room and you have that thermometer screen. Or if it's more that event page that we showed with that thermometer built in, I think that probably works more with having sort of everything kind of counted in there. So it kind of depends on if it's in a live room and what sort of response you want.
Okay, great. Okay, next one here is for Leah from Carling. What are your thoughts on whether it is still appropriate to be actively fundraising when people are losing their jobs?
Yeah, and that's a real concern for a lot of organizations. But if your organization happens to be in human services, food banks, any of those programs that happen to be highly critical in a time like this, when we're seeing possible possible impacts like people losing their jobs, it's really important for you to increase your messaging about the importance of the work that your organization is doing to support the greater community, such as, food bank providing food, etc. I've even seen animal shelters lately talking about, and rescue groups talking about the importance to have foster pets right now, especially while people are at home and don't necessarily have to go to work every day. And talking about other ways that people can help the organization support its mission. And you don't necessarily have to be doing donation asks at this point, but what you can do is figure out other ways to engage people and engage your volunteers and engage your donors and share information with them, so that by the time this crisis and pandemic is over, they have seen all the good work that you're doing and they're poised to make a gift to your organization. And people are stuck at home. So giving them content and letting them know all the good work that they're doing out, that your organization is doing out in the field to continue to help your people despite everything, is something that I really encourage our organizations to do.
All right, thanks. All right, next one here is for Rachel. So the question is, how did you handle the table seating?
Yeah, so the table seating, what we did was we used our website and blacktimeboxing.com, and we had the availability for them to, currently this is what we're doing. We're discussing more options through Mobile Cause, that we may use this year, but because we just started with them kind of in the middle of our event, we did not this year. But they had the opportunity to email us if they would like to sponsor, but it also showed out all the levels. And if you go to blacktimeboxing.com and click on tickets, you'll kind of see that laid out. And so they would email us, and then we would respond back with questions they had, opportunities we had available, in addition to what they were seeing on the screen.
Okay, great, thank you. So for Leah from Susan, it sounds like a virtual event can last a week or a month or even more. How do you decide how long it should last? By reaching goals, or how would you do that?
So there's a lot of different types of ways you can structure your virtual events. There's days of giving, where you reach out to your community a couple weeks ahead of time to let them know that the day of giving is coming. And it's the day of giving is about getting your entire community together to make a difference for the people you serve. And that's really just a quick one-day push that builds a sense of urgency that you need to get the funds by the end of the day to really make a difference. Otherwise, we have peer-to-peer campaigns, and those usually have a longer period of time because you need to recruit your peer-to-peer fundraisers, and you need to give them time to reach out to their friends and family and raise funds. Those I've seen go anywhere from a week to a month. And we've also seen a couple organizations do week-long virtual events. So it really depends on how you plan, one, how you plan to structure this, and two, what resources you have available to you. You know, if you only have the staff capability to do, you know, a one-day of giving, that might be your best option at this point. So it really depends on your needs as an organization, which you should choose.
Okay. Our next one is actually for Leah or Corey. It's from Krista. A lot of events are going virtual. How can we make ours stand out? Who'd like to grab that one?
I can jump in.
Okay.
Sure, Leah has good ideas about this too, but you know, I think the more you can engage with your constituents, the better. And as you saw with Rachel, it's very creative, which, you know, one of the reasons we wanted to sort of spotlight her is because it was so unique. So if there is a connection with your organization with some sort of activity or something sort of like unconventional like that, where you're sort of like, what's that? You know, where it just gets somebody to kind of rethink something. Awesome, you know, that's great. You know, don't be afraid to look outside the box and find ways of, well, how can people compete in different ways? Maybe it's you know, I saw one campaign where people were competing with this is obviously during the holidays, where they were competing with you know, Christmas lights on their houses. You know, maybe it's like, you know, Habitat for Humanity. They would work with college campuses, and they would have the students build like a little like mini house, and, you know, then you'd like vote for your favorite little house. You know, so just depends on what you, and all those could still be virtual. You know, you can still build a house not on the college campus, but you know, in your backyard. So it kind of depends on I guess the creativity you can put into it, and the willingness of your community to kind of jump on that idea and just have fun with it and run with it. But yeah, I mean, I would say just don't be afraid to experiment, and as long as you present it as something fun and that it is serving the mission of your organization, people will jump on board.
All right. So next question so Corey asked this one, or answered the last one. I guess Leah will give this one over to you from Kelly. How do you re-engage attendees when you're on the 11th year of your event?
Sure. What I would recommend is taking a look at the elements of your event that got people the most excited. Was it a speaker that you had one year, a performance? Did you have a cookie bar? If you did after event surveys, pull those out again, or your after event notes, and see what really, really got people excited. And based on that, it could help you inform your strategy for your next event. And because your donors have kind of indicated what they really have liked about your events in the past, and just do that times 1,000. That's probably not the best way to say it, but don't be afraid to use the clues that people have given in the past to help you tweak your event a little bit to keep it engaging for the people, your donor base, as you move forward.
Okay. Our next question is for Rachel from John. Was there any JDA staff assigned and helping? If so, how much staff time did they provide on average per week?
Well, like I said, it was primarily volunteer ran, so we carried out the whole event. We had support from the JDRF staff, mainly with like setup and here if we need you kind of things. But as far as carrying out the role, it was all volunteer based. I wouldn't be able to attest to any kind of time frame that they put into it. We did have some phone calls leading up to the event just to make sure we were on track with what our goals were. But since it's a third-party fundraiser for them, they are primarily as a support system.
Okay, and also for Rachel, I want to get this one in here from Asa, or I'm sorry, from, keep scrolling up here. So from Larry, Black Tie and Boxing donated more than 26,000 to JDRF. What were the event expenses?
Yeah, well, we've actually donated a lot more than that over the years. Expense wise would be things like the cage that came in. If you end up having any pro fighters, there would be an expense with that. As far as amateur fighters go, they don't get paid. But of course, we do thank yous. We pay for their hotel and travel. Food is always is a big expense, especially if you're doing the Black Tie Fair. It's a plated dinner. We have servers. We don't do buffet. Rentals, there's a pretty big rental cost, and then we have a very good production team that we hire out to carry out the lighting, the video, microphones, that sort of thing. So our event is in the local downtown civic center, and so it's a relatively bare space, and so to make it very inviting, we have to transform that center with decor and production.
All right, thank you. All right, so for Corey from Kristen, our gala was postponed until June 12th and may have to switch to a virtual event at the last minute. Any planning tips?
Well, is it canceling or switching to a virtual? Was that?
Yeah, it's currently postponed till the 12th, and it's switching to a virtual event, or possibly switching to a virtual event at the last minute. So the plan for that.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I mean, I think you would just want to sort of map it out. I mean, pretty similar to, if it were a live event, kind of backdate out like, okay, well, when are we selling tickets? When do we want to get sponsors involved? That sort of thing. I mean, in a way, in many ways, the virtual events, as far as the planning side of it, it's pretty similar to a live event. The details are different because there's no venue to and all that stuff, but otherwise, it's all pretty consistent. You want to get the word out in time, I would say. So we're in March now, so yeah, you want to give people a couple months lead time probably to buy tickets, know that it's coming, that sort of thing. With live events too, if they're tickets are priced, that's really good. I think Leah was mentioning this earlier, that it sort of, puts a little more stakes in the game of like, you better show up kind of thing. So, less easy to blow off. So you want to really stress, especially as you get closer to, of course, you want to build up momentum of building that, like that sort of that hype that I was talking about of doing like live streams beforehand. That kind of also gives them a preview of what's to come. So yeah, I mean, I think just as far as planning an event, there's a lot of overlap in this, and the timing of it, I think you could pretty much use a very similar calendar.
Okay. All right, for Leah from Sue, we are increasing the price of our gala to $100. Is there a good way to or good way to message this so that we can sell $100 gala tickets and still have no show for those who want to donate and still participate without the $100 ticket price?
Sure. Even in times of, in normal times, I guess you would say, times without the coronavirus, a lot of our organizations have the option on their online Mobile Cause RSVP forms to either buy a ticket or make a donation if somebody's not able to come. And we always see a lot of organizations get, I mean, most of our organizations will get a straight donation from people who are not RSVPing to attend the event. And we even have, sometimes we won't put it on there, we'll just put tickets on a ticket form, and my clients will call me and say, can we please put the donation box? People are going to our ticket form to make a donation because they won't be able to attend. So as long as you make it really accessible on your ticketing form for people to make donations if they choose not to attend, you should have no problem collecting donations from those folks.
All right, thank you. So let's see. Okay, so similar to the previous question here, I guess for Corey here, from Julia, if we are simply postponing our event and it's a dinner and an auction, what do you suggest to boost attendance after the fears of coronavirus or over coronavirus?
I think you want to let people know that you're moving it to a time that is safe. You've taken into consideration all the warnings that are being issued by the CDC and other health advisory institutions, and you've taken into consideration when it is safe for everyone to come, and you've moved it to this new date because you know that it's now in the clear. Which is still, we're obviously, a lot of information is kind of changing and evolving, but I think once you know the new date, you can more confidently say, now we feel comfortable and we encourage you to come, and you can also let people know that their presence is needed now more than ever, that because this sort of isolation period that we've all been in, that's their participation is vital for the organization to sort of forge ahead into the rest of the year, into the second half of the year. Yeah, so I think just stressing that you've taken all the information that's available into consideration, and that I think will reassure a lot of donors that it's not like you just sort of like, well, it was a good date, that the venue said it was available. You strategically chose it with their safety in mind, and stressing that.
Great. All right, so this next question is from Jenna, and I'll actually start the answer here, and Corey or Leah, if you want to jump in and to add anything, feel free. So the question is, will you go over the technical on how to stream a virtual event? Okay, so the first part of that is that you want to look at one of the main streaming services that are out there. That right now the most popular ones are either Facebook Live or YouTube Live. There's a few others with a little more niche in there, but those are the two main ones. They're more general. So partly what you want to look at is like, where do your supporters kind of congregate? If they're more, if you have a very large following on Facebook, that may be where you want to go. So you want to start off with the platform that you're looking at, and then from there, do the research on the specifics. But from there, with for like equipment and everything like that, partly that could be a whole other conversation, but you can do it. I mean, like the camera that sits in your pocket and you answer calls with is usually an amazing camera right there. So you can do some of it just like from your phone. I've seen other ones where they will have a more substantial camera, sometimes hooked into things like an iPad or various ones on there. So it really depends on the style you're looking for. On a few of the examples that we saw today, pretty much those could have been done with just a phone, where you had people sitting in a room, they had projection in the background of the fundraising thermometer, and they're just sitting there talking. So you can do something as simple as that, or you can scale it all the way up to very, very professional levels on there. So it really depends on your understanding and the people that you have, and honestly looking within your organization and your community on who has that experience and can help out. If it is something that you're pivoting very quickly on to engage with, and what the experience they may have with the different elements here. They are relatively simple. Again, if you get in and you look for YouTube Live or Facebook Live, they tell you real quick how to do it and logging in and getting that set up. So otherwise, we could spend the rest of the time here going just through that. So that's what I have. Corey or Leah, did you have anything to add? Or
I would just say, don't be afraid to test. You can on your own personal account, if you're going to do Facebook Live, just on your own personal page, not like a Facebook page, but your own personal profile in Facebook. You can just do live that way and just test it. Just, you want to just feel acclimated to it, so that when you're doing the full event, that's not like your first time doing it. And also having somebody watching for comments, so you can kind of interact and do a Q&A like we're doing right now.
okay. All right, so next question here looks like for Leah. We are in a community being highly impacted by coronavirus. We just had an earthquake, lost jobs and housing. We're debating how long to delay our online event. I understand each nonprofit situation is different, but I'm interested in some perspectives on when is the right time to ask during a crisis like this.
Yes. So, you want to be very considerate of the crises and the difficulties people are experiencing in their personal life. So at this point in time, it might be a good idea to take a few weeks to address what your organization is doing to help those people in crisis. If you don't directly impact people in crisis, like you're not a food bank or a healthcare facility or something like that, what you can do is just reiterate the work you're doing, be conscious of, and just really spend the time to tell the story of your organization and the work that you're doing. Some people can't get outside, of course, because you're really impacted. If you're allowed to go outside, maybe go film some of the work you're doing. If you're an organization that works in conservation, for example, or nature, go help people get access to the outside by filming some animals and doing videos related to your mission online, so people are still be able to engage with you. And don't be afraid to let them know that this work that you're doing is all donor sponsored, so that way in 2 weeks to a month, when you're ready to start asking for money, people understand the good work that you're doing in the community and understand, have really bought into your mission and are ready and excited to give to you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so for Rachel, this is one I had lost here before from Asa. Would you please explain in more detail how does the whiskey poll work?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do is we have we kind of do a call to action for different donations of whiskey bottles. And again, that can be any priced bottle, $25 and up. A price of a ticket is $60, currently set at $60. And so we displayed these bottles on a table, make it look, just kind of flashy, different flowers or lights or candles or whatever you want to do with it. And we set it up on a table during our cocktail hour. And about 15 minutes into cocktail hour, we open the whiskey pool for anyone that wants to come up and purchase a ticket. So again, a ticket's $60. What they'll do is they will flip over their shot glass and whatever. Well, let me back up. What they ended up doing was they take a shot glass with them, and then in the middle of the event, we'll call for all the whiskey pool people to come back up to the pool, and then they'll flip over their shot glass, and whatever number is on the bottom of their shot glass will line up with a numbered bottle that's on display, and they take that bottle with them. And so again, they could end up with a $25 bottle or a $200 bottle of whiskey, whatever was donated. So let's see, this year we had 50 bottles. So we made $3,000 just from people donating whiskey bottle and purchasing a ticket. So that's all that was kind of put into it. And once the shot glasses are gone and purchased, again, we had 50 of those this year, then we're sold out of the whiskey pool. And again, we sold out in 30 minutes this year.
Yeah, that's impressive. All right, thank you. All right, so the next one here is for Corey or Leah from Jeff. We are a visiting nurse agency, and the majority of our gala attendees are mature. We do not have a lot of email addresses and often use US mail. I'm not sure social media or a virtual event will work with our audience. Any suggestions or any other suggestions?
Sure. So one of the things you can do, so if you think that the majority of your potential attendees have access to internet at home and can use that, one of the things you can do is send them a mailed invitation, like the old-fashioned formal invitation, but instead of having a response card or something like that, you put in the information about where to log on for the virtual session, including the web address. If the issue is that most of these folks don't have internet at home or reliable computer or know how to use their smartphones, which is also which can be common, what you can do instead is still send out that mailed invitation. But if you think they're all comfortable using the phone, you can use a conference call line. So it's like what we're on right now without the webinar presentation. So they can just call in using their landline, and you can have, your CEO or somebody senior give a presentation and have people do questions and answers, or, think about a way that you can do your content over the phone. The other option is mail out that invitation and suggest ask people on a certain day to all do an activity together. So whether that's something that's related to your mission, since you guys are a visiting nurse agency, I'm trying to think. I'm not sure what an activity everybody could do together that would be related to their mission, but like everybody have a cup of hot cocoa together, I'm not sure, and then send via return mail a note about what they did while enjoying their cup of hot cocoa and along with their donation. So there are, even we say virtual event, but you can have a virtual event without people being connected over the internet. You can, everybody goes outside and takes a walk at the same time, something like that. So those are just some suggestions.
Nice, thank you. All right, so another one for Leah. This one comes from Pam. You mentioned incentives tied to purchasing a ticket to a virtual event, like a 5K. What kind of incentives do you mean?
Sure. So the virtual 5Ks I've seen, people will send out the bib, in 5Ks, people get numbers with bibs in the label. And I know a lot of runners and people who, collect their bibs, especially if they really love doing 5Ks. So send them out that bib in the mail. And so they can, tack it on their wall with the other ones. You could send them a medal, maybe some running socks. I've seen, the t-shirts, anything that you would give somebody during a normal 5K, you can mail to them. The only difference is with a virtual 5K, and you don't want it to have too great of mailing costs. So something like just the bib, that's just essentially a piece of paper, would be a great incentive for a 5K.
Okay, great. Next one here is for Corey from ASA. About the material earlier, what is the advantage of having a separate event page rather than hosting the event on your existing web page or website?
Well, the event page, I mean, it's, I guess it depends on your web capabilities. It's certainly easier to hook up, and the design is a little more controlled. And you have, like the sliding out donation form there, and the embedding the videos. And so there's sort of some coding that we've already done that you don't have to worry about. But if you have a webmaster who can do all that fancy stuff, great. The event page can actually also, I haven't seen this done yet, but you could embed this on a web page. So it does depend on your website and the sort of the framework within which you have to work. Some people have these templates that are very restrictive for them. So so yeah, the event page just kind of gives you a little more flexibility, and again, it has some built-in features that you don't have to worry about fine-tuning and tinkering.
All right, so let's see, get just one or two more here. So last one here for Rachel. This one comes from Kristen. For the for the Fight Club peer-to-peer leaders, did you provide them with talking points to use and other marketing materials?
So we, of course, set their pages up on Mobile Cause, and they had a keyword, which was Fight Club, and a number. So they each had their own keyword. So they perhaps would do videos and say, text Fight Club 4 to 71777 if you'd like to see me fight at Black Tie Unboxing. So things like that. We messaging wise, we did set up their pages for them, and they kind of generic overview. So what is the Black Tie Fight Club? So explain that in a little more detail. And then we put support your favorite fighter by clicking the make a donation button above. And then we had a why I fight section. So they could personalize it to why they fight, or we just made it generic to what type 1 diabetes is, and what the cause is. So as far as messaging, we again created those pages for them on Mobile Cause, and they make it really easy for you. And so once you put their information in, like your fighter's email or whoever your peer-to-peer person is, they get a link directly to their page. And so it's really just a click of a button. And so you can personalize it to them with a certain number if you have more than one person doing it, and that type of thing. Yeah, and then as far as messaging and talking points for the fighters, again, we met with them prior to, just kind of had an interest meeting of people that we thought would be good advocates, and that's, those are the type of people you want to look for, advocates in the community, again, that are either associated with the cause for whatever reason, or whatever it is your event is about. And then kind of laying it out there, what our expectations would be, what we hope for from them. You know, making it, ours was like a, you know, you're not going to get this camaraderie. You know, it's kind of like you're back playing football again or whatever it is in high school. And so there's a lot of, hopefully, some good feelings about that time that they spent in those types of sports. And so we did the interest meeting and then just kind of did text or call back. And then we set them up with what they needed to be successful. And that was the biggest thing that we said is, we are going to help you succeed. And I asked the guys at the end of this, was Mobile Cause beneficial in your fundraising? And all of them said 100% yes. It was so easy to use, and especially for the ones that were new to the fundraising side of it, they could link it into their Facebook with a click of a button, or link it into an email with a click of a button, or put a link into the email, or text it. Hey, text Fight Club too, blah, blah, blah. And it was that easy for them.
All right, thank you. All right, so it looks like we are at our last question, so we'll stop with this one here. So with that, with this one, we've come to the conclusion of our Q&A. I want to thank Leah and Corey and Rachel for answering all these great questions that have come in. Hopefully you'll get some good information from our material as well as the Q&A. Now, before we leave, if you're interested in discovering how Mobile Cause can help maximize your fundraising efforts so you can raise more with less time and effort, or if you'd like to schedule a personalized one-on-one demo to see how Mobile Cause can help grow your nonprofit, please fill out our post-webinar survey. I want to say thank you again for attending today. Thank you for spending this longer time with us, and best of luck in all your fundraising efforts. We look forward to seeing you again at next month's live webinar. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you. Bye-bye.